Hello and welcome to the online edition of the People's Film Festival 2022. This is a hybrid event with both physical screenings and streaming online. If you haven't already, you can get your pass at kinoshortfilm.com. We have a full access pass, which includes all cinema screenings, or an online only pass for £5, where you can watch all 40 official selections and vote for your favorite film to win. Last night was amazing in the cinema with our opening night party, and today we're here chatting with Gillian Harker, who is the writer, director, and lead actress in Feast, Beth Park, the director, writer, and producer of FISHWIFE, and Patricia McCormack, director and lead actor in MYRTLE. Hi, ladies. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
How's everyone doing today?
Great, thank you.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Yeah, good. I was very civilized last night and didn't overdo it in the wine. So not dealing with a headache or a hangover, which, you know, sometimes at the festival it's easy to get carried away, especially being back in person now.
Did give me.
All right. So we would like to start off our interview by just introducing you. Everyone could have a chance to just share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you got into filmmaking.
Shall I start?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, my name is Beth Park. I'm the writer-director of FISHWIFE. I kind of got into filmmaking just through wanting to express myself, having been an actor for a decade. I then kind of moved into directing, sidestepped sort of by accident, and then just kind of having the moment where I was like, why the hell not? Am I doing this by myself? Why am I waiting for a phone call or waiting for somebody else to make this happen for me? And I guess just during lockdown, I just had that revelation and conversation with myself. I was like, just do it, go on. And then it just snowballed, and it just started happening by, you know, every day, just kind of daring myself to keep doing it until eventually there was a film. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's great. I mean, kind of similar to Beth, actually. I never really know how to sum up what I'm doing in like a concise 30 seconds, and I tend to ramble. But yeah, I went to drama school, started, you know, the first sort of 5-6 years in the industry as an actor, and was really frustrated with the sort of work that was being offered to me or not being offered to me, you know. So just started writing bits and pieces, and then wanted to become as sort of self-sufficient as possible, really. So sort of collaborated with a few people, started kicking a camera around, not quite literally, almost though. I was so unsure what to do with a camera for the first, you know, few times. But yeah, just started a bit like what Beth was saying. It kind of snowballed, found a real passion for it, actually. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting now. I feel more comfortable now as a writer-director than I ever did as an actor, which is something that I never imagined would be possible when I first started out. But yeah, I genuinely love writing and directing. Writing's the hardest part, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we're all in a similar kind of club here, because I also was an actor, but I have worked in advertising for the last few years, and this MYRTLE is my first short, and I just kind of have always had an interest, and so I followed it, and found you kind of you prove your interest right in a way. You think, well, you start and you think, well, if I fail, I fail, but now you just want to keep trying and growing and seeing, you know, yeah, let's see where you can take yourself, you know.
Yeah, so on that note, so Beth and Patricia, this is your first directing, the first short that you've directed. That's correct, right?
Yes, yeah.
Do you think that COVID partly spurred that on, because as creatives, there was kind of this hiatus, and there was just, I don't know about all of you, but I mean, I just felt this need to go, okay, well, what can I do? and hence a lot of projects kind of were born out of that. Did you find that that was kind of your experience, or what made you decide now's the time to direct my first short film?
I think for me, I had been kind of planning it before, like through 2019. And interestingly, because I was thinking I was wanting to make a short as text work in for a short film, but I had also been developing a play with the same writer, and we were looking to further kind of develop that and put it on in 2020. So I think lockdown sped up my action towards just shoot it 100% because of the frustration of not being able to do the theatre, So
have you had a chance to actually perform it on stage yet, or is it only a short film at the moment?
MYRTLE, are we talking about?
MYRTLE, yeah, sorry.
So MYRTLE was a stage play that Megan had written for 3 actors that I was in, and but it was in a different form. So I did an edit of the play to see if I could make it work for a film. So it was a real kind of experiment, like, oh, let's just try it and let's see if this can hang together and work dramatically as just a cooking demonstration with nothing of the backstory, nothing of the crime story revealed, right. Anyway. So,
and that is, you were working in tandem sort of then with the playwright, or with kind of the grace of the playwright to take it away? She was someone you'd worked with before?
Yeah, I mean, Meg and I have had a long collaboration. I've worked with her a lot, both in Scotland and in Wales, actually, in the theatre. So, yeah, and I think this had been the play it was called Pit. That was the first time I'd met Megan, so there's something kind of nice about revisiting and reforming it to work as a film. So
fantastic. And was she involved in the film production?
No, she lives in Wales and she has small children. So we kind of got the edit. I kind of would send her it and say, what do you think? And then she would kind of, tweak and yeah.
Fantastic. It's one of the wonderful things about modern technology, at least. Filmmaking can be so much more international now. It doesn't matter where people are, you can still collaborate.
Yeah.
Which is lovely. And Beth, how about you? You were saying you were daring yourself daily to just try new challenges. Was that prompted by COVID, or was this something that did the project start before COVID?
I think the idea for the story, not as a film, had just kind of rattled around in my head a couple of months before. But then, yeah, it was very much that just sort of like empty time of the first lockdown, where, life is so busy. I'm always busy doing one thing or another. And just that moment to like stop and have a bit of time to look into the practicalities of how I could actually make it as a film. Yeah, I don't know if I would have done that without lockdown, or it may have taken me a lot longer, or it may, I think the time I had in lockdown allowed me to be a lot more demanding with the quality of the choices I was making, because I didn't have to rush, or there was no pressure, especially because I wasn't making it for anyone except myself. So I was quite uncompromising in terms of what I accepted in like all of the choices as much as I could. And I think that the space in lockdown allowed me to do that, because it was, it's just free time, just months of free time, where I was, like working remotely and stuff, without a social life and not spending any money on anything. Yeah. So yeah, definitely COVID was the petri dish for FISHWIFE. Yeah.
Fantastic. And Gillian, for yourself, so your project very much was based around COVID, in terms of the mental state. Reading your director's note on Film Freeway about COVID and how people were dealing with COVID. in terms of lockdown. Why did you feel like this was the time for you to tell this story?
I think it's not a film about COVID. It's a film about isolation and not government imposed self-isolation. It's more about just when people isolate themselves when they've got mental health issues. But I definitely think having conversations with various friends and family members about how they were dealing with what was, I mean, we all know what an odd time, especially 2020 was for a lot of people. And that lack of connection and different coping mechanisms that people might need to go to when they're trying to manage in the best way that they can. So yes, it's about isolation, but not the sort of government self-imposed isolation. But yeah, of course, it was influenced by COVID. You can't escape it. In 2020, it was absolutely everywhere, wasn't it? And every conversation we were having was about it. But yeah, it was really about different coping mechanisms that people have. You know, people turning to drink or people turning to whatever it is. But I just recognized that, you know, food is a big crux for some people. And that's really kind of where I was going with, obviously, with Feast. But Feast originally was going to be a short selection of mini vignettes of different people within the same community that aren't interacting at all, but looking at their own coping mechanisms. And then a lot of it comes down to money and lack of money. And it was quite an ambitious project. I had some really great conversations with really great actors that were very keen to do it. But yeah, just at the end of the day, it always comes down to money and time. But yeah, coping mechanisms and mental health, and yeah, how different people dealt with unprecedented times, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was a really powerful portrayal of binge eating, because it did kind of look at the unglamorous reality of it. And I love how you didn't shy away from that. Was that really important to you? Oh,
yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like when you see those kind of binge eating disorders on film, I might get in trouble for saying this. I think sometimes it's seen in quite a oddly glamorous way. Like someone might nibble on an eclair and then cut to a vomit scene, and it's glamorous is not the right way. Like that's obviously the wrong word, but it's sanitized a little bit, I think. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't feel authentic to the experiences that I know that some people have had. Mm-hmm. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to try and make something that I haven't really seen before. And I feel like I just wanted to test what could be done on film. I think I broke some rules that you're not really supposed to do in terms of the amount of dialogue that's in there. And there's not really any proper antagonist. So yeah, I definitely wanted to kind of try and show a different side to what is discussed and seen in some ways. But like I said, it's quite sanitized, and definitely it wasn't anything that I recognized, you know, stuff that I'd seen on TV and film before. So I was like, let's try and get to the root of the sort of psychological element of why people go to that, rather than the actual action of it. We see the action of it, where it's the nibbling, and then it's usually a very beautiful, you know, slim woman anyway that's the protagonist that's being cast in these movies, these TV shows. They're nibbling a little whatever it is, a cake or whatever, and then that's the action. But we don't see the psychological build up to that, and we don't see the guilt afterwards. We don't see the shame afterwards, which is what I try to show in Feast, and try to explore that with the character. Absolutely.
And so did you always intend to act in it as well as direct it from the beginning?
I did, yeah. I don't know now if I would cast myself in something again that I'm directing and writing. I actually co-wrote this thing with an amazing playwright called Brian Coyle. So Patricia, when you were talking about working on your film with a playwright, I had the same experience, and I think it really helped to have a co-writer to kind of sort of have more of an outside view, but also we did Zoom rehearsals leading up to, so he helped direct my performance. He wasn't there on the day because I think there was restrictions at that point by the time, so we had to keep the set very closed actually. But yeah, it was always meant to be for something that I was going to be in, but I don't know now if I'd direct myself again. So I'm glad I did the experience. I really enjoyed Feast. I had a great set of people around me. But yeah, I feel like I'll definitely broaden my horizons with the actors I'm going to work with from now on.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. And how about you, Patricia? You directed yourself as well in MYRTLE, right?
Yeah.
Was that your first time? Have you directed yourself in any stage piece before, or was this a new experience for you?
No, this was entirely new. And I kind of listened to directors I respect that do it, you know, that act direct. And there's quite a few out there. So it's something that I'm definitely interested in doing more of, you know.
Right. So you enjoyed the process.
Yeah, I loved it. And also it's like you know when to put one hat on and take the other hat off, and that's a learning process obviously, but I was aware how, like, I remember listening to a piece of advice that I thought was, you know, I kind of ran with MYRTLE. It's like when you're on the shoot, just keep either doing takes, keep moving, don't get sucked into watching back playback, rather capture more. So just keep moving and follow your gut. And then once you get into the edit, put the director's hat back on. I really just was like, this is how I'm rolling with, you know, with that. You know, don't get too analytical. You've got to keep driving, you know.
Yeah, well, that sounds like really good advice. And Beth, for yourself, do you want to share a little bit about how you got your cast, your fantastic cast?
Yes, yes, I love my cast so much. Yeah, the two men in the cast, I reached out to people asking for self-tapes that I'd kind of shortlisted, like a bunch of people through Spotlight, and yeah, got some tapes from them and found them that way. And the lead actress, Scarlett Brooks, is just amazing. And yeah, she was recommended by a director because I was kind of describing the character, and nobody was like jumping to mind. And then someone was like, oh, I know exactly who you're going to want. Take a look at this actress. And yeah, I watched her in a film and I was like, she's absolutely perfect. And thankfully she was interested. Yeah, she just makes the film what it is, I think.
She is fantastic. So when you wrote it, you didn't have actors in mind already?
No, I didn't. I had quite a clear vision of the characters, not necessarily visually, but just, you know, their core of who they are. And yeah, I think I was just a mixture of luck and persistence of finding people that luckily matched what I was after. So yeah, it did. The casting worked out fantastically.
Oh, that's amazing. And how about locations? Your locations were amazing. Can you share with us a little bit how you managed to get those locations?
Yeah, that was one of the first pieces that fell into place. One of the reasons I ended up making the film. So I'd written the script, I'd had the idea, and it's set in 1700s. So I was just scrolling through the internet, looking at, you know, rental properties, filming locations, anything that I might possibly be able to afford. And yeah, I found this old Welsh cottage, which was like you could go on holiday there, but it was like a restored to the period, and it was absolutely perfect. And the guy like let me use it for, you know, as much as it would cost to sleep there overnight instead of like a filming location fee. But it didn't have what it needed on the outside, so that was just the interiors. So we found this incredible exterior location, but it's the other side of Wales, and we shot in 2 days. So we shot everything interiors in one day, and it was all dressed, you know, with props and, you know, from all over the place. And it was just me and the production designer, then packed everything away at the end of shoot day 1, and then everyone travelled up to North Wales to Snowdonia for the second day, and we shot there for the exteriors, which was an abandoned slate quarry, which had this little cottage by the lake in this abandoned quarry, which was amazing. And my production designer found that location, and she is Welsh and had heard about it, and that was perfect. The only thing was, I mean, aside from the long commute between the 2 shoot days, was that the exterior location suffered like one of the worst storms it had had in years on the day we were filming. It had been really beautiful weather, and it was the storm we had the other day, it was like that, plus rain, a lot of rain.
But it actually really added to the film. When I saw the film, and I just thought, how did they manage to get the weather so perfect on the day?
I was panicking so much as the weather reports were changing, like in the days and weeks leading up. It was like, it's 100% chance of 10 inches of rain. What the hell are we going to do? And it was really, really rough. It was very rough on Scarlett, who played Sedney, because she's in a period costume outside. I mean, we only had one version of the costume, which my mum made, so it wasn't like we could just like whip her into a fresh, dry version. So it was very rough, and I also fell in the lake. Before we even got one shot in the exterior location, I fell in the lake. It was like a category of disasters in a way, but that it didn't ruin the actual finished film. Actually, not me falling in the lake, but the weather, added to the finished film.
Yes, it made it very atmospheric and moody, which I watched with amazement, going, how did you manage to do that? But
yeah, that was luck.
Luck and through lots of tears, it sounds like.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. And Patricia, how about you? Your location, did you find an abandoned kitchen? It was, it looked very convincing when it finally gets revealed where exactly Myrtle is. It's quite believable. Is it just a regular kitchen, or?
It was a restaurant in the City of London.
Oh.
And they were closed part of the week due to COVID, due to being in the city. And we shot in August. I think it was like in the gap, just so, a tighter restriction came, but we were just ahead of that. And literally the guy said to me, I could give you 2 days here or, 2 days there, or that's it. And then we're opening back up again 5 days. So you have this magic window and you just jump on it.
And how many days?
Yeah, it was really the production designer.
Sorry. Was it a 1 day, 2 day shoot?
2 day shoot, 1 day monologue, second day, all the bits, all the close-ups and
everything.
Yeah, and honestly, the production designer was amazing. Like how she kind of shifted things around, and we really wanted how it was shot. Also, it's like the kitchen was a character in the piece, always hemming her in. The kitchen's always there, kind of hemming her in. So
yeah,
I think it was a really imaginative use of how it was shot, and how, with the limits of what we could, shuffle about it. Well, I'm happy. It seems to be paying off.
Yes, absolutely. So, and for you, Gillian, do you have any stories from your shoot, really good or bad, things that happened on the day?
No, I just nearly vomited within the first half an hour, because we shot pretty much in sequence. And if you've seen the film, you know what I have to eat in the first scene. And I very nearly vomited, and I was really surprised, because I was like, well, normally I can eat 5 times this much. So it wasn't looking good for the rest of the shoot. No, that's probably, yeah. Then my DP suggested a few tricks that he knows other actors do when they're on set if they have to do lots of eating. So we use those tricks. And
do you want to share those with the listeners?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's literally just put it in your mouth, chew, and then spit it out. It's disgusting, and I was gagging all over the place. But that's what we did. I couldn't stomach eating any more chocolate spread, and white bread. It was gross. But Yeah, I was just very lucky that we shot on the last Saturday before Christmas in December 2020, and it was that day that it was announced that Christmas was effectively cancelled. Do you remember that? There was I remember I had a relative that was due to get married on the Sunday, and then it looked like it was going to get cancelled. Yeah, so that was the biggest. I think the days leading up to it, we were just a bit worried that because obviously there was rumours that there was going to be another lockdown. So it came into effect basically as we wrapped. So I guess we were lucky in a way, but yeah, no major. Didn't fall in any lakes. No major issues apart from me nearly vomiting within the first 30 seconds of shooting. But
you persevered. That's good.
I did. There was so much. There was pizza all over the place. The house stunk of like stale pizza, and I mean, we shot in it was my old flat that I used to live in. So yeah. Sorry, I wish I had something more exciting to say.
That's all right. All film sets are different.
Oh, right? I do have so the fly shots were all pickup shots, and there's a CGI fly. So I'd ordered some flies online to arrive, because I'd actually written the script in the summer, and there was all these flies buzzing around, and then I had this idea, and I like the symbolism of it, so I thought I'll just be able to catch a fly. And then obviously winter, we start shooting in the winter, and there's no flies. So like a few weeks leading up to it, I'm Googling how to get flies, and obviously there's pet shops where you can order these larvae to arrive, and they didn't hatch in time for the shoot. So I had all this larvae in my bathroom, and my DP was basically on standby in the Christmas period between Christmas and New Year. And I was like, if these flies hatch, can you come to mine? Can we do the pickup shots? So I felt like Victor Frankenstein. There was one day I was in bed, and I just heard this buzzing from my bathroom. And I was like, they've hatched. So I quickly got on the phone to my DP Dirk, and I was like, I've got a fly. So he came the next day, and we managed to get, no flies were harmed in making this, by the way.
They were born in order to make this.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, that's probably the most exciting. The most bizarre part of it is ordering flies, waiting for them to hatch over the Christmas period, being excited once they did hatch, and then they're actually wingless flies. Like in the pet shops, they only sell these they've probably been obviously genetically engineered to not have wings, because they want to just put them in the tanks and let the lizards or whatever it is, whatever's going to eat these flies.
This is whole new level I knew nothing about.
I knew nothing about it either. So I think the CGI fly does have wings, but then the one that we see walking at the end,
no wings.
Wingless fly. Yes, it's
fly.
But
dare I ask what happened to all the flies at the end when you didn't need them anymore? You don't have to answer that.
Released into the world,
we
they're living very happily.
Them, yeah.
They were released,
but like it was winter, so I don't know. We released them, but they were most of them haven't hatched. That's the thing. I don't think. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. We released them.
Sure. All right. Moving on.
Yeah, it's a circle of life.
Circle of life. So, can you share with all the listeners a little bit about your experience, festival experience so far with your project? Made to a few festivals so far. I know some of them have been in multiple festivals already. How's that been? Have you been able to go in person? What's it like releasing your film out into the world?
I'm trying to think if I've been able to see it in person anywhere yet. I don't think I've been able to see it in person. I think everything's been online so far. I was gutted that I was at a hen do this weekend, so I really wanted to go yesterday, but I think because I'm chief bridesmaid, my friend would have murdered me if I'd not gone to her hen do. So I was really gutted to miss it, actually, yesterday. I really struggle to watch myself. I don't know if Patricia and Beth feel the same thing. Watching myself on screen, I think, is a really hard thing, especially when I've written and directed something as well. So I don't know, for me, always watching myself, I've made a few films now, and like I've cast myself in most of the stuff I've done before. So I always really struggle watching my stuff back with people. So I think I've benefited from things being online this time round. But also going back to what I was saying earlier, I don't think I'm going to cast myself and stuff again, because I recognize how tricky it is for me when I'm watching stuff at festivals. I want to be able to celebrate my film and celebrate the work of everybody that's pitched in, because I'm aware that sometimes it can look a bit like dismissive if I don't want to be there. But I really love the fact that festivals have selected my film. I love the work that people have put into it. I just have such issue watching myself. So online I've definitely benefited from, but I wish I could have been there yesterday, definitely. And I'm looking forward to seeing both of your films as well.
It was so fun. I was at last night's opening gala. It was so much fun, and I loved watching all the shorts. They were great. It was a really good standard, you know. It was a great evening. I mean, MYRTLE's in 87 festivals, so it's like we're kind of just as crazy. Sadly, not sadly, but the majority are in North America, and I've not been able to go.
Yeah.
But so it's it's so delightful to go to in-person events. I've had enough of online festivals. There's nothing like it. You know, films have to be enjoyed on a big screen. You know, really. There's always something missing. You don't get to see them on a proper size screen. So, and to meet people organically is just so delightful. So I have loved the experience of the festival circuit, and I have also felt a little separate because I haven't been able to enjoy it, you know, the full human experience.
So that's a lot of film festivals. Was your intention right from the beginning? Did you set a ton of money aside to submit to that many festivals? Because usually with filmmaking, obviously you have a budget and you end up pouring a lot of it into production, filming, and then all of a sudden, usually, you know, you need money in post, and then all of a sudden you need money for festivals. And so quite often by the time the festivals come around, at least for short films, sometimes people have to be quite selective. But obviously, if you've gotten into that many festivals, you must have pre-planned to have money set aside for that.
No, not at all. Basically, I'd run out of money after shooting MYRTLE. So my co-producer came on board the week before we started the shoot. Like literally I had everything booked, the kitchen, the dates, etc. And I was like, I need help. And amazingly, Shaheen came on board and then kind of invested in the project, and she invested in the festival as well, because I hadn't done it before. So I was taking advice, I followed her lead on that. Because when you've not done it, you don't know.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Really incredible.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's like, it's like it's like a little magic dust. Ooh, happened, It's like, when does... It reminded me of that, the Goethe quote, which I'm about to get wrong. It's like, at the moment of commitment, the universe conspires to assist. And you feel it's like you just start something, you don't know how you're going to finish, and then somehow something happens to help you.
Yeah.
My friend used to always say, it's not quite the same, but it's the harder you work, the luckier you get. I mean, it's a phrase that I think a lot of people have heard, but my friend was the one that first said it to me. So it's probably something about that. You probably worked incredibly hard, and people see that, people can see that, and they want to get on board something that is being driven with such determination to a destination. So yeah, well done on that.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's a good lesson, isn't it? Like you say, thinking like that, the harder you work. I think that's a good mindset,
And how about you, Beth? What about with FISHWIFE?
Yes, so far so good. It's kind of FISHWIFE was only finished at the end of 2021, so it was kind of a bit behind. Perhaps you guys have shot a bit before then. So it's just starting to hear back from festivals now over the last 1 or 2 months. And yeah, had some really nice selections, which I'm really happy about, and already kind of some lovely festivals in the UK and interesting genre festivals around the world. which I'm really excited to be a part of. But this next weekend, when I'm going to come down to the People's Film Festival, will be my first in-person festival and the first time I've seen FISHWIFE on the big screen. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. Yeah, I find it difficult to watch back. As you know, by the time the credits roll, I'm like, yes, okay, that was good. But as I'm actually watching it, I'm like, well, don't look at me while it's playing during the festival because I'm just full of tension. Yeah, but by the time the credits roll, I'll be good.
I'm excited to see it because I'm definitely coming down next Saturday. Hopefully I'll get to meet you. I won't look at you while your film's on.
No,
but
please don't. I'm going to sit at the back.
Seeing it, and hopefully I can watch yours as well, Patricia. I think everything's online, isn't it?
It is, yes.
As well.
No, it'd be lovely to meet everyone in person. Patricia, are you able to make it next weekend as well?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope to be there. Yeah.
Oh, how amazing. We'll all actually get to meet in person. That'll be lovely. Well, okay, on that note, why don't, just before we sign off here, would you like to share with everybody what you're working on next? If you've got anything. If not, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the next thing I'm working on. I'm working on a short film about a young girl, semi-autobiographical. I used to play rugby league, and I got to about 12 years old and I was no longer allowed to play on what it was a mixed team, but I was the only girl on the team, so really it was a boys team. And in my real life I had to dress up as a boy to continue playing for a little bit longer. It wasn't like anything like She's the Man. It's not like I fooled people that knew me, knew that I was pretending to be a boy. It was more to fool the opposite teams that didn't know me, you know, the opposition. But our film is about this young girl that just sets about creating her own girls team. So she's trying to bribe and persuade and rope in these girls in her class. So we shot a proof of concept teaser in February. We're hoping to shoot the main short in the summer because the Rugby League World Cup is happening in October, November. So it's a perfect time for this kind of story. We're super excited. I've got an amazing producer on board. We've got really great support from the rugby league community. So, and there's no role for me. So I feel like I feel like that's great. I'm like, okay, great. I'm not 12 years old. I can't play that. So I feel like a lot of kind of relief in a way. Like it's quite nice. But yeah, I'm really excited, and we're having really lovely, interesting conversations, and just keep my fingers crossed. So it's called Rhino as well. The film's going to be called Rhino.
Nice.
There are two projects. One is a kind of more a short, like six minuter. The next thing I hope to shoot in the summer is actually set in Glasgow. So the my first shot, by the way, is set in the Midwest in the United States. So
oh wow!
I'm going home with my second short, and it's a comedy drama. For a while, I've been trying to figure out what exactly it is. There is a crime in there, but I think it's a comedy drama.
Okay.
So I'm really excited to get on with that.
Fantastic. And for you, Beth?
So my ongoing thing is my day job is I direct actors in video games, so that's like ongoing. Working on a video game called Baldur's Gate 3 at the moment. We're just 3 years into directing that game, so that's continue working on that. And my next film, I don't want to say too much about. I'll say that if you watch my pitch, 1 minute pitch on the People's Film Festival. Is it on the website, or how do people watch it? They can vote for me.
Yeah.
So you can watch my 1 minute pitch for that via the People's Film Festival, and you can maybe vote for me if you like it.
You heard it here first, people. Yeah, you gotta stay tuned. All right, and just one last thing. If you were to give one little bit of advice to up-and-coming filmmakers, someone who's never done it before but really wants to give it a go, what would be your one top tip or a bit of advice to someone new?
I would say interrogate your own ideas before you get on set.
That's a good
So
one.
you can make things up while you're on set, but if you've already interrogated the ideas and have decided that is the best option, that's how you want that shot to be or how you want the story to be, then you can change that on set, but you understand what it is you're trying to do before the camera is rolling and everyone's waiting and wants to go on a break.
I would just say you just have to do it. I remember for ages I seemed to wait for permission to be a director or to be a writer or whatever it was, and I think actually you've just got to do it. Get the first thing out of the way, whether it's like a 3-minute thing that you've done with your friends. Do the whole process, do as much of the process of it yourself or with friends, edit it yourself, do all of that, learn every step of the way in something, no high stakes, keep it super low stakes, so it doesn't matter if you aren't happy with what it is at the end, but you did just do it and do as much as you can, and then you're a director or you're a writer or you're whatever the role is that you find most comfortable. You've done it, so that's what you are now, and then people will see what you're trying to do, and you'll get the people, you know, attracted to your project, and then you'll start building, you'll start climbing that ladder. It starts with just having to do it, not waiting for permission, or and you're always going to have that imposter syndrome. I don't know about you guys, but I will always have that little imposter syndrome thing, but you've got to just try and get rid of it or ignore it and just do it, and then
Get on with it.
Carry on going.
Yeah, I think as well, it's like I entirely agree and would say the same. It's like, don't wait till you're ready. You're never ready. Ready doesn't exist in that sense. Prepare fully, but don't feel there's some magic formula that, and now you know everything will be glorious. And I understand. We do. It's fine. Nobody knows what they're doing. That's it.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today, ladies. And really excited to see all of you in person next week.
Yay.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yay.
I can't wait to see both your films.
Yeah,
Genuinely.
same.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to meeting you guys.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I never introduced myself, did I?
Oh, yeah. Who are you, Liz?
Hi, I'm Liz McMullen. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks so much. Lovely to chat to you all.
Lovely to chat to you all as well.